Good morning, everyone. This is Aaron Sharp from the Millennium School, South City, Lucknow. As we already have discussed about the story of a village Palampur, the last topic which we need to cover now is land distribution in Palampur. We have already discussed about big farmers, small farmers, and how they contribute in Palampur. So now let's see how the land distribution is done in Palampur. Land distribution between the farmers of Palampur. The first thing which we know that there are four type of components and factors of production. First is land, second is labor, third is physical capital, and fourth is human capital. So when we talk about land distribution, so obviously we need to look up to the first factor of production, which is land. So land, a very important factor for farming, that we all know. Land, a very important, means it's the most essential component for farming. And unfortunately, not all the people in agriculture have sufficient land for cultivation. When we said that we have big farmers, small farmers, so obviously the uneven distribution of land is being done in Palampur when it comes to farming, because small farmers don't have that much of money to buy the land, and big farmers, they don't give land to the small farmers as a gift that we actually can think of. So the first thing which comes here, it is land is unevenly distributed. Second, some do not have land, means the small farmers. Some have small plot of land, means the medium farmers who have the land, and these people only do the farming of their own land. They don't require labor from other villages or other people. The people who lives in the village, they don't require the labor. And third is some sections have huge plot of land, means these are the people who have been considered as the big farmers. Now these are the three type of farmers which we have just saw. The some do not have land, means the small. Some have small plot of land, which is medium, and some sections have huge plot of land, which says some do not have land, means they do not have land, so they work on the huge land, huge plot of land, where the big farmers have that land. And some have a small plot of land which they have which are being called as the medium farmers, who work for their own land. They cultivate their own land, their whole family work on their own land, and whatever the production comes out of it, they use it for their daily use. Now second type of factor production is labor. Who will provide the labor? Another factor production means agriculture and requirement of labor. Now on land, how the labor works? Small farmers, medium and large farmers, they along with the family cultivate their own land or field, means these are the small farmers. They have a very small amount of land, or they are also considered as landless laborers. Whereas medium and large farmers, they hire farm laborers to work on their fields or farms, because they have a small plot of land also, and a very huge land also, on which they hire people from the village itself, and then the people work on their land and cultivate the land, and whatever the cultivation process being done, it goes to the big or medium farmers profit. Now farm laborers come either from the landless families or families cultivating small plot of land. Now the third factor production, which we say the capital. The capital needed in farming. Now modern farming, which says capital intensive. We have already discussed that what are the modern farming methods, how they work on it. So here it says, where does the capital comes from? So for the small farmers, they borrow money to arrange capital from money lenders and traders. Whereas we can see the example of story of Savita and Tejpal Singh. Savita is a very small person, means the small cultivator in Palampur, and she needs money to cultivate its own land, means she's a very very small farmer. So she went to the big farmer, means the large farmer who is considered as Tejpal Singh, and asked for money. Whereas Tejpal given some money and asked her also to pay the interest. Whereas when she agrees to pay the interest, he also asked that you need to work on his own land for when the time of cultivation is being done. So there are a lot of things which has been asked from Savita by Tejpal Singh, because the one thing which comes here is the interest, the profit, and the illiteracy of small farmers. Whereas the small and large farmers have their own savings from farming, and they use it as capital requirement because they keep the money in banks, they take the interest from there also, they give a small amount of money to the small farmers and they take huge interest from them. So there are a lot of things which they are discovering and they are doing for the small farmers. So as we all have seen that there are three factors of production, and what is the fourth one is the human capital, and that human capital is being said as the farmer. So now it comes to sale of surplus farm products. Question: what is surplus? Surplus means bulk in a huge amount. So answer says the amount of grains left over when requirements have been met. It is the excess of production. Means the excess of production is being left out, and that left out is being called as surplus. So relate it with the story of Savita and Gobind's son. I have already told you in this session that what is the story of Savita and Gobind's son. If you were not there in the session, you can go through the book, you will get to know about the story. So not everyone have surplus, small farmers have little surplus. It is medium and large farmers who sell surplus to market to earn profit. I just tell you one small example. See, whatever the small farmer produce on his land, that production is only being taken by the small farmer itself. But the medium farmer and large farmer, whatever they cultivate on land, they use it, and whatever the surplus is being left out, it is being sold to the market. So there is also an example of story of Tejpal Singh which I have already told you. So here it completes the chapter. So obviously it's time to enjoy because chapter is completed, but now only the last thing which is left here is now here comes the question answers and notes of this chapter. So the number one which comes here is points to remember. Now let's just recap the whole chapter in one go. The story of Palampur is an imaginary village that we all know, hypothetically known, is partly based on a research study carried out by the Gilbert Etany of a village in Bulandshahr district in western Uttar Pradesh. Status of the basic infrastructural facilities in Palampur: first was system of roads well connected with neighboring villages and towns, then that was Raiganj and Shahpur. Second is means of transport: bullock carts, tongas, buggies, motorcycles, jeeps, tractors and trucks that already we have seen as traditional and modern transportations. Electricity connection is mostly houses. Electricity powers all the tube wells in the fields and is used in various types of small businesses also. That also we have seen the connectivity of electricity. Schools, there were 2 primary schools and 1 high school. Healthcare center, one government primary health center and 1 private dispensary. Now farming is the main economic activity in Palampur village as well as others villages in India. And farming and non-farming activities in Palampur are as follows. That is the agriculture, which says the small manufacturing, example jaggery manufacturing units that we have discussed in farming activities. And then farming activities also their livestock, whereas non-farming activity is being said like transportation services, the shopkeeping, the dairy husbandry, animal husbandry, dairy development and computer center. Farmers of Punjab, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh were the first to try out the modern farming method in India, because at that time Uttar Pradesh and Haryana and Punjab were the most cultivating zones in India. So they have tried the new green revolutionary based of HYV seeds, which was being initiated by Indira Gandhi. At that time, she was the prime minister. As I have told you, an organization of production. The aim of production is to produce the goods and services that people need. That people need. There are four requirements for production: factors of production of goods and services, distribution, consumption, and production. So, what were the four? Land, labor, capital, and human capital. So, what is land? The term land is used in a wider sense. It does not mean only the surface of the soil, but also includes all those natural resources which are the free gift of nature. Whereas labor, the aggregate of all physical and mental effort by the man used in creation of goods and services. Whereas capital is as a man-made instrument of production. Capital may be divided into fixed capital, example machinery, tool, railway, tractors, factories, etc., and working capital like raw material and cash money. So means money is not only the capital which we see here, but money comes under the process of capital, where as we can see the human capital, which we also say it as entrepreneurship. It only depends on the knowledge and enterprise. How? Because human capital is a measure of skill, education, capacity, and attributes of labor which influence their productive capacity and earning potential. The standard of unit of measuring land is hectare. And what is hectare? 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 square meters. In most parts of India, the units used to agriculture land measurements by farmers are biga, bisa, gatha, gunitha, jarib, etc. So you all need to go through with all these ways according to which the measurement of land is being done. The agriculture crop year in India is from July to June. Means this is the session. Like in our school, it's like April to March. The same way for agriculture crop year is July to June. Agriculture season are classified into mainly three cropping season. The first season is called as Rabi season, which is as Kharif, which comes from July to October, in which the crops are being grown: jowar, bajra, rice, maize, cotton, sugar cane, tobacco, etc. The second season is winter season, which is also known as Rabi, October to March, in which the crops are being grown: wheat, barley, gram, mustard, pulses, potato, etc. And the third, summer season, which is known as Zaid season. It is from March to June. How it has been done? What crops have been grown in this season? Watermelon, taurus, cucumber, leafy, and other vegetables and flowering. You also know like sugarcane, mango takes the whole year to grow, and it comes only in one time in the full season. Now let's come to what is multiple cropping. It is a practice of growing more than one crop on a same piece of land in the same growing season. Farming provides essential amenities like food for the people and fodder for the animals. It also provides the main source of raw materials to the secondary sector, which is also called as manufacturing industries. Now, third thing which comes here is now agriculture practices carried out in India from ancient period. Traditional farming adheres to the traditional methods of agriculture. On the other hand, modern farming experiments with the implementation of the advanced technology. The basic differences between traditional and modern farming are as follows. Now we'll compare the traditional way of farming and modern way of farming. So when it comes to laborers, so for the traditional way it is self and family, and in modern they hire the laborers. The seeds they used to use traditional seeds. Now we all know that there are HYV seeds. Fertilizers, they used cow dungs and natural manures. Now here there are chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Whereas the plowing and harvesting way, it was animals, bullock carts and bulls on the field whereas now the machinery, tractors, and threshers are there. Sources of irrigation was Persian wheels were used by farmers to draw water from the wells, canals, and rainfall. That we also have heard about the rainwater harvesting, that also been done in traditional farming. But nowadays, tube wells or pump sets, canals, dams, and tanks, just because of the electricity, we use it in modern farming methods. Now, what is Green Revolution? The great increase in the production of wheat and rice in India in the 1960s is known as Green Revolution. Is it could happen owing to the introduction and modern farming methods in India, such as use of HYV seeds, well developed irrigation system, use of pesticides and fertilizers, using farm machineries, etc. Everything has pro and cons, so does Green Revolution also have. So negative effects of Green Revolution: the first is loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemical fertilizers, reduction in the water table below the ground, increase in soil and water pollution, loss of genetic variety. Now here comes the very short answer type of questions. The first question is, what do you mean by multiple cropping? Multiple cropping, when a field is used to grow two or more crops on a same piece of land in the same growing season. Question number 2. Explain the purpose of the story of a village, Palampur. The purpose of the story is to introduce some basic concepts relating to production, agriculture, and non-agricultural activities, which is also known as non-farming activities. Question number 3. What is Green Revolution? For Green Revolution was a period when the productivity of wheat and rice increased drastically as a result of new advances, in which we say HYV seeds were there, modern farming methods were there, new irrigation system was there. That was all Green Revolution, which has been taken in 1960s. Question number 4. Who developed the HYV of wheat? We should know all this, that who initiated the HYV seed system of wheats. The name is Professor Norman Borlaug. Means the Professor Norman Borlaug. Remember this name. Question number 5. What is the first requirement of production? That we all know, which is land. Question number 6. What are the items that comes under physical capital? The things are tools, machineries, buildings, raw material, and cash money. Now question number 7. Mention the sowing period of Kharif crop. The sowing period of Kharif crop is from July to October. Remember, July to October is the production time of Kharif crops. Question number 8. Name of the states who first tried out the modern farming methods in India. I think you need to remember this. Just think. I tell you, it's Haryana, Punjab, and Western Uttar Pradesh. Let's see, is it or not? Oh yes, my answer is correct. It's Punjab, Haryana, and Western Uttar Pradesh. And the last question of very short answer is, what is the main economic activity in Palampur? Oh, that we all know, because since starting we are discussing the same thing. It's farming. Yes, it's farming. So now let's discuss the long answer questions. So the first long question is, what is the role of electricity in farming in Palampur? So here's the answer: used to run tube wells, used in the manufacturing works, used in the business of lighting, working fans, and domestic appliances. Second is, what are the main factors of production? That we all know: land, labor, capital, which is also known as physical capital; human capital, which is known as entrepreneurship. Third question, what are the farming and non-farming activities being carried out in Palampur? So there is farming activities is agriculture, livestock, and non-farming activities transportation, shopkeeping, trading, dairy development, animal husbandry, computer centers, small manufacturers, example, jaggery manufacturing units. Now question number 4. Discuss the major steps taken by the government to improve agriculture in India. So the question here, answer comes here. the consolidation of holidays, 5-year plan on agriculture, minimum support price policy, subsidy on agriculture, financial support like Grameen Bank, Kisan credit cards, etc. Fifth question, what do you mean by modern farming methods? HYV seeds, farm machineries, fertilizers, pesticides, and different sources of irrigation. Question number 6, discuss the benefits of green revolution. It increases the agriculture production, it increases employment opportunities, strengthening the linkages between agriculture and industry, and transformed the farmers from market oriented. Then describe the weaknesses of green revolution. There's loss of soil fertility, depletion of water table, increase the regional disparities, widened the disparity in income, interpersonal inequalities, no response from small and marginal farmers. And the last question comes here is, discuss the various types of resources. So there are 3 types of resources: natural resource, man-made resource, and human resource. So for today, the chapter has now been completed. The whole chapter with all the topics and the question answers with notes is being done. I will forward it to you, this PPT also, in which all the question answers and notes are being present. So for today, I'm signing off. Aaron Irvin Shah from the Millennium School, South City, Lucknow. Thank you.